What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Forbidden FM, the best podcast on the planet. Hands down, the best podcast on the planet. Today we have a special live episode. Ooh, it's going to be spooky. I'm going to be telling some ghost stories. I'm going to have other people tell some ghost stories. We're going to do a tarot reading. I will simply show you a Ouija board on the desk. I don't know if I necessarily want to play around with something like that. But yeah, so Halloween's coming up, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do a Halloween special episode. And what better way than to stress me out for a month by planning a live one? So that's what we're doing. I'm going to tell a few stories, and then we're going to cut to something, and then we're going to bring on some special guests to also tell some stories. So, where do I begin without spoiling the stuff that my mom will be talking about? So, when I was growing up, I had a friend that lived in this big 2-story house. And I'd go over there and spend the night. We'd go over there for his birthday. Like every year, we'd go over there for his birthday. And then, like a few years after he moved out of that house and became my neighbor, once he became my neighbor, we were talking about ghost stories, and suddenly he reveals to me that there was one night where we were all spending the night during one of his birthday parties. And one of our friends woke up in the middle of the night, and they said that they turned over, and right in the doorway was in the long hallway, because we usually kept the door open for stuff like that, for like people that had to use the bathroom. There was just a pair of glowing red eyes. And that kind of jump-started our whole, like, figuring out that other friends of ours have had ghost stories. I had a friend this is the same friend, saw something, like, peering from around the corner in that same room. And then, like, quickly hiding when he goes back there to check. And apparently we had been seeing stuff in that house all the time. I have another friend who lives in the middle of the woods. I used to spend the night at his house a lot, especially during the pandemic, and you'd hear like footsteps walking above you, even when there was no possible way for there to be footsteps above you. You would hear someone walking up and down the hallway, and if you looked out the door, there'd just be nobody, but you could still hear it. And so, you'll be hearing stories like this tonight. You'll probably be hearing stories that are a little bit more intense than those, but I wanted to give y'all a little feeler for what we're going to be hearing tonight. So how about we go ahead and cut to the first segment where my mother tells ghost stories from my childhood. So I hope you enjoy this part. And I'll see y'all in a few minutes.
All right. Well, we moved into that house in what year? 2021, and I was about 4 months pregnant with you.
2001.
2001. Yeah. Sorry. And so it was our very first house, because before that we had just lived in apartments and stuff. So we were excited. We were moving into a new house and stuff. And when I was pregnant with you, everything seemed fine, actually. I don't really remember much happening until later. And I'm trying to think exactly when it started happening. And this is why I think I didn't really pay much attention at first. Because maybe when it first started happening, I thought I was sleep deprived because, you're a baby, and I was up with you like all night long and stuff sometimes. So the first things that happened was that I would see shadows in the hallway, and it was like a weird, very distinct shadow that I kind of thought I was going crazy because the way the hallway was, it was just a big square, and it was like your bedroom, another bedroom, and the bathroom. So it wasn't like a long hallway, and there were no windows to the outside that would have penetrated like shadows or light. So it was strange when I started seeing that stuff. But again, I was like, it's nothing. I'm sleep deprived. I need to get more sleep. That's what's going on. So I would say nothing major happened until I guess after maybe when Holly was born. Although I kept seeing the shadows, I never mentioned it to your dad because you feel sort of crazy. And why are you going to mention that? Like you sound like you're nuts, basically.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. After I had you, I had a little bit of postpartum depression and things like that. And I didn't tell anybody because even though it was only 22 years ago, it was more like stigmatized than it is now where you start to tell yourself like if you tell somebody this they're going to think you're crazy and they're going to take your baby away. you know
Yeah.
so anyway, but okay, so what happened is that one day you came out of your room, and I think you were about 3.5, so Holly would have only been maybe a year at this point. And you said, I keep seeing a man in the hallway. And I said, what are you talking about? And then your dad walked up and you said, I see something black in the hallway. And it looks like the wet floor sign.
Yeah.
And so at like the grocery store, there would be a wet floor sign. There's like a little shadow man. And you and me and your dad kind of like looked at each other like, oh, well, I mean, we didn't say this, but then I looked at you and I was like, oh, it's nothing. You know what it is? It's cars driving by, and it's just shadows from the cars driving by. That's all it is. And you believe that because you were only 3. And then you left and went back in your room. And your dad looked at me and we were like staring at each other intently, I remember. And I said, is there something you need to tell me? And he said, I don't know. Is there something you need to tell me? And then we went back to our room and we both admitted that we had both seen the wet floor sign man. So then I started actually telling your grandma about it. And your grandma was like, that's funny that you mentioned that because when I've been over there to babysit, I also have seen something. And I just kind of thought it was nothing. I wrote it off as just like it was something out of the corner of my eye. I didn't really see it, but she saw it too. So then I was like, well, this is weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact timeline because I never like wrote anything down because again, you're still like in your sane brain thinking to yourself, this is stupid. You're just seeing things. There's no way that this is real. But eventually I did call. I had written a few articles for this website, these ghost hunters. And I'd written a few articles and given them some pictures and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to email them and see what they think about this. So then the guy called me and he's like, we could do like a ghost hunt thing at your house. And I was like, And so I said yes at first. And then I chickened out
You
because
didn't want to like freak anybody out or anything.
yeah, like one, I didn't want them to like pull up in their ghost hunters van. I don't know. I mean, I was in my 20s, so I was thinking
You
like,
didn't want the Ghostbusters to pull up and
yeah. So I was like, okay, our neighbors are going to see something. What are we going to do with the kids? And also he had said, you might want to leave the kids there because the spirits may be reacting to your kids because sometimes they do that with like little kids. And I was like, I don't like any of this. And plus I started thinking that if I did see something or if they saw something and they showed it to me, then I would not want to live there anymore.
yeah.
So major things that happened after my grandfather died. And I guess Holly was maybe around 4 at that time. And soon after that is when the weirdest stuff started happening.
And
So
and to give some context, he planted a tree in our yard, didn't he?
lots of trees.
So
Yeah.
he was very connected to this.
Yeah. He actually made repairs on the house. He, he put the fence up in the backyard
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, he had done a lot of stuff for us at the house. And I'm trying to think, you can edit out any of my long pausing here while I think.
That's fine.
Um, so he passed away, and this is when things started to get a little crazy. So one of the things that happened, and I don't remember if he had already passed away, but I think he may have. And I told your girlfriend about this, and she is the one who sort of told me, you know what that could mean, right? Because at the time, and even years after, I didn't really think of it this way, but
Yeah.
it is really strange. And that is that we couldn't sleep in our bedroom for about 6 months.
Yeah.
We had like an air mattress that we blew up in the living room every night.
You know what? I remember y'all sleeping on the air mattress, and I never understood what that was about.
Yeah. Well, here's what happened. There started to be this really horrible smell, and it smelled like something dead, and it was only really prominent in our bedroom. Well, we didn't have like indoor pets or anything like that that would, nothing was like dead in our house. So we had a crawl space, and your dad crawled through the entire crawl space with a flashlight, like dodging spiders and everything under there. It couldn't find anything. And then my stepdad came over, and he used to be pest control a long time ago. And he's like, you know what? I got this. I'm going under the house. So he went under the house too. And I mean, he wasn't young. I mean, he was crawling under there in his 50s, like looking under the house too. He's like, it's got to be something. We never, ever, ever found anything. Nothing on the perimeter of the house. Nothing. And the other thing is that in the attic, and I don't know that it emanated from the attic in any way. There was only a part of the attic that you could get into. The other part was completely closed off, and we never tried to get in there. So I don't have a clue what was in there.
A part of the attic was closed off?
Yeah, because remember how the house was? It had that really steep,
The
high
vaulted ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, and so one side of it, if you tried to go over there, like go around the vaulted part of the ceiling and go in there, it was totally closed.
Do you think that would be due to like air conditioning, or do you think or was
the air conditioning was accessible because we had to have the air unit changed out while we lived there.
Yeah.
So it's been back there because the air guy couldn't have gotten to it otherwise.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it was weird. So anyway, the bad smell, it was a decay smell, and it smelled that way for at least 6 months. And, said, well, that's like a sign of something demonic, and I was like, well, I never thought about that, but okay, so then the weird things that started to happen were, your dad, he would get up at like 5 a.m. because he had to drive so far to work every day. And he wakes me up, and he never would wake me up before he left. And he's got this white as a sheet look, and he's like got these big wide eyes. He looks terrified. I'm like, what because I'm instantly thinking something's wrong with one of you guys. And he's like, something just touched me on the face. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, it was like an ice cold finger was on my face. And I was like, well, I'm not going back to sleep now. So then like a few weeks later, he jumps up in the bed, and he's like going like this. And I am like, what? And he said, it felt like something bit me on the chest or clawed him or something. And it was like, it was red right here and everything. It wasn't like claw marks or anything, but he was really red.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is really strange. And I started to see, and this is the other thing, you start to freak out because you start to feel like you're going crazy. And, you can't admit to yourself that something's really going on. but I used to like hear these whispering sounds. And I was like, what is that? And then one day I was laying down in bed. I wasn't like asleep or anything yet. I was just laying there trying to go to sleep. And I kept hearing something whispering in my ear. And I would sit up and look around. And then I laid back down on the pillow and I was like trying to go to sleep again. And something whispered in my, like right in my ear, almost where I could feel like somebody physically, doing. And I sat straight up and I just started crying. And I just said, please stop. You're scaring me. And after that, a lot of it really stopped. So anyway, so like not long after that, maybe 6 months or so, we decided we were selling. I remember we used a friend who was a real estate agent, and we hadn't sold the house when we moved yet, but took all our stuff. We moved into an apartment, and that was like an hour and a half away. And I went back to the house because she needed her signs out of the yard, and so I pulled up in the driveway. And I remember I called your dad, and I was like, "Is there anything that you can think of that's in the house that I need to go in there and get?" And he was like, "No, I don't think so. I think we got everything." And I was like, "Well, thank goodness, I don't want to go back in there." But I remember as I drove away, just feeling this eeriness, almost like something was watching.
Yeah.
The house was always so creepy. Like, I don't know. And I always thought, because, I'm all about horror and stuff like that. And I have had, I don't know, maybe in the back of my mind, always thought, oh, that'd be cool to live in a haunted house or whatever. But it was not. That was like
Yeah.
terrifying. All of that stuff, especially the fact that your toddler is telling you that they see things and describing it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't deny this anymore. If my 3-year-old is describing something
Yeah.
like that to me, a figure of a man. And then even your grandma was saying that. And I was thinking, well, this can't be good, because anything I've ever read after that has said that shadow people are not good. Like, that's
Yeah.
a bad sign.
It's usually like a negative energy surrounding people in the home. Because
I mean, I was sleep deprived, so I was probably not in the best mood all the time, but wasn't like super depressed, or there were no problems in the home or anything like that.
Well,
So
I think I've told you this before. I don't remember if I have, but I've looked up like tax records of this property because I wanted to know like who lived in it before us.
yeah,
And it was built in the 70s, and I think we already knew that.
yeah.
And but the owners were the same people up until y'all bought it. Like, it was the same family.
Well,
It was owned by someone, and then it was transferred to someone that was related in some way, and then like for 10 years that person lived there with it in their name, and then they sold it to y'all.
well, you want to
So-
hear something that I've always thought was weird, but maybe it means nothing. When we went to close on the house, the owners were not there. They had sent like a sister or something to sign all the closing documents. They'd given the sister like some sort of, the power to sign the documents for closing. And I don't think I thought anything of it at closing, but I think later when we started having these things happen, I think I thought then that was weird. Why wouldn't the owner be there?
Yeah.
And it could mean absolutely nothing at all, but it made me wonder, like, did they know something and they didn't want to face us? Or, I don't know.
I think the most shocking detail you've revealed to me during this is the fact that a part of the attic was inaccessible completely. I did not know there was a secret cove in the attic that was just completely inaccessible.
It was the part that was over y'all's room.
Yeah, see, that's details that I probably should have known about, because that's where all this stuff was happening for the most part.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, there was like as a kid, it's unexplainable, and I guess I won't know if my experience is unique or not until I witnessed this with a kid, but like I would be sent to my room because I did something bad at school. And I
Mm-hmm.
think you remember, like, one of the most permanent fixtures in my mind is when I was sent to my room and like I had to hide under my desk because I felt like something was in the room watching me. I'm sure you
Yeah.
remember that because you couldn't find the phone and you like rang it to go
Yeah.
and find it, and I was like terrified under my desk.
Yeah. That's
I
weird.
I couldn't have the door shut ever. I couldn't ever be in there alone with the door shut. It was the same thing with the playroom. If I was sitting in the playroom watching TV, I always felt like someone was behind me watching
Yeah.
me.
Well, and I don't know if you remember this or not. I assume you do because when you were a little bit older, because we didn't actually sell the house till you were
I was
6,
7.
you were 7. Okay.
Well,
Um,
we moved when I was 7. I think I was a little older when y'all actually sold it.
okay. Well, yeah, so before we moved, maybe you were 5 at this point, we had gotten that giant cage and you had guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And and I remember like um people said don't just get one guinea pig. They're social and they need a friend in there,
Yeah.
you know. So I think we had 2 and then we ended up getting another one because a lady that we knew was selling one or something. And I don't know if you remember this, but each guinea pig died like a really weird death.
The first one
One after
died
the
of heart failure.
uh-huh.
The second one was murdered by one of the original ones. And
Oh,
then the one that
sorry, it's
murdered
not
it,
funny.
the
I don't
one,
want
I mean,
your
the way
watchers to be like, your mom's horrible.
the way I
Laugh.
talk about it is funny, but like the one that killed the second one died of natural causes only a year later.
Yeah, now that one, the very last one that died, ended up having some horrible disease that made
Yeah.
all the hair fall out first,
Yeah.
and then it died. And I have never since then met anyone who owned guinea pigs that had that experience
Yeah.
where they just died one after the other, or one of them killing the other one, or any of that, you
That
know?
is really strange. I don't know
It is.
what
Yeah.
made that guinea pig just randomly decide to do that. Because
Yeah.
like they lived together for so long, and
Yeah.
then like one day we're like, huh, that guinea pig has some red in its fur. What's going on with that? And then like a
Yeah.
week later it was just dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So bizarre.
yeah, it's really strange. And that whole house, like as a child I couldn't explain it. I couldn't be left alone in any individual room. I'm sure you also remember I had like imaginary friends that I could see with my
Yeah.
own eyes, which is not normal for a child. Like I was able to actually see my imaginary friends.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, when I think back on it now, I just think to myself, I don't know why we stayed in that house as long as we did, you know? I think I just kind of compartmentalized or something to be able to live there. I even one time set up our little video camera and just let it run,
You've told me about that, yeah.
recording for a couple of hours. And then I, kind of watched it or whatever. And it was the same kind of thing as the ghost hunter people. I'm like, do you want to see what's going to happen? Because what if something did happen? You know,
Yeah.
then what? What do you do then? Where do you go?
I've thought
'Cause
about that here and at other places where I'm like, I want to keep denying it so I don't feel uncomfortable
yeah,
in the space. Like here, like it still happens at the same time every night. I hear people talking to each other downstairs, and it's happened for like 8 years, where I just hear either a man, a woman, or a little girl talking to themselves downstairs, and they're never down there. And like it stops the moment I start trying to go down the stairs. And but with that, I'm like, maybe I'm just hearing things, you know.
yeah,
I mean, even Roy has seen stuff here before, you know.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
one of those. It's one of those
I mean,
things.
I sometimes wonder, like, if it followed us. Although I don't remember when I was living there, and there. Uh, but anyway, I don't remember a ton of stuff happening there. And I will say that, as you know, I live in a house now that's 109 years old, and
Yeah.
we don't have problems here. You would think there would be a ton of ghosts because we
You
actually
would think.
live on almost on top of a battleground from the Civil War. So you would think that we would have some issues, but yeah, no, I haven't ever seen anything. Although, David has joked that he saw like an old lady sitting in the swing. This was soon after we moved in. And I was like, yeah, that's so funny. Ha ha ha. And and then I don't know, he has continued to say, no, I really did see that. Maybe it was just the lighting and the weird curtain over there, but I really did see that. Um, and anytime anybody asks if there have ever been any ghosts in the house, he will tell them that. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's serious. He really did say that. And I just blew it off like it was a joke.
Yeah, especially with the cursed nature of the city you live in now.
Yeah. Comment on Dane's podcast if you want him to go to the city and knock on the door and ask the current owners, what's up,
I'll probably send them a letter before I did anything like that.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. You should do that.
I'm sure I'll never hear back.
Maybe, but never know. They're experiencing things and they may, be like wanting to tell somebody that believes them.
Well, especially now that they've renovated the house.
Yeah.
Whenever you renovate a house and it's haunted, then it gets worse.
They renovated the heck out of the house too, like every single thing.
Yeah. They redid everything.
And it was like the tiniest, okay, it wasn't that tiny, but it was pretty tiny. And so yeah, I mean, like that hallway in particular could pretty much be seen from anywhere in the house, including our bedroom.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So, but that was definitely the hub of the activity.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to look into that inaccessible part of the attic that I didn't know about.
Well, the only reason that we found out about it is because we were like basically kids when we bought that house, so we didn't, go over the inspection of the attic or any of that stuff. But I don't know if you remember this, but we had a terrible ant problem.
Sort of remember.
It turns out the ants were in the attic. They had built like a huge thing up there. And so we had to get all this pest control, these people out there to do a bunch of stuff. And I'm pretty sure he is the one who was up there and he's like, did you know you can't get to one side of your attic? And we were like, no. And he was like, yeah, the opposite side past the vaulted ceiling, you cannot get in there. It's just not accessible. And, and he's like, I don't know how you would get in there. It looks like a really sturdy thing that's blocking it. So I was like, well, that's odd, but it became way more odd after all that stuff started happening. So
that is a really weird detail.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right.
All right. Bye.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to Forbidden FM. I have a very esteemed special guest. It is the girl locked up in my attic. Please welcome my girlfriend.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
So, you seem to be a spooky story magnet, it seems.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And I would like to ask you to go through some of your stories with me.
Okay.
Where do you want to start? The prehistoric age?
Yeah, I guess throwback to when I was 4.
Yeah.
The one that you don't really know much about. I wish remembered more of like the context of why we were over at my mom's friend's house, but we were over there, and I remember my mom and her friend were cooking in the kitchen. Again, wish I remembered what they were cooking. And I was in the living room watching TV or something.
Yeah.
And they had called me into the kitchen to either say something, if I had to ask them for something. I don't remember because it was the first time I was at her house, so I didn't really know this woman that well. And I remember going in there, talking to them for a second, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to watching TV. And I walk back in, and there's just an old lady standing in front of the TV, like all like gray and white.
Yeah.
And I literally just stood there and stared at her because I wasn't processing that there's not supposed to be an extra person in the house.
Mama, there's an old lady in the living room.
Literally. And it's like, you know, your typical like older like grandma where she's like got a little skirt on, a sweater, and like short like gray hair or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just calmly walk back into the kitchen and I go, who is this lady in the living room? And both of them drop what they're doing and they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's an old lady in the living room. Like, who is this? I don't know who this is. and my mom's friend was like, well, can you describe her? And I described her. I was like, you know, short curly hair. She's kind of like hunched over a little bit. She's wearing this and this. And I said she wasn't doing anything. She was just standing there staring at me.
Just standing there menacingly.
Not even menacingly. It's just kind of like I want to say it's like kind of like a still picture
Yeah.
where it's just like they're not moving or anything. It's just like gray and
Ooh.
white. Because
Ew.
I have another 4-year-old me story similar to that one that I'm going to talk about after this.
Oh yeah, I see it in the list.
Yeah. It's just kind of like a still picture. It's just a gray and white person.
Yeah.
And I had described it and whatever, and she's like, oh, that's my grandma that died. Like, I think she had recently died, so I'm thinking maybe like a month or 2 ago this woman had died.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was recent. That's why she asked me, can you describe her? Rather than being like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, because why would somebody's immediate response be describe her instead of like what?
Yeah, instead because they didn't even go into his living room either.
Yeah. Damn, they didn't even go and investigate?
No, but when I went back, she was gone.
Ew.
Yeah.
Why
So,
wait.
like,
Why would you not go and investigate that?
none of us did. One, I didn't understand what was going on, and I also didn't care. Because I'm 4 and I'm trying to watch some TV.
Yeah.
And then they didn't do anything. We literally carried on like normal.
Oh God.
Yeah. And my other one, I can't remember if this was before the grandma story or after.
Yeah.
But it's around the same, I would say the same like year at least. I was in my own house, and I think it was like in the morning at some point because I was also going to the living room to watch TV.
Yeah.
And it was just me.
You trying to live a peaceful life as a 4-year-old child, and it's just not possible.
I'm just trying to watch some TV. And these people keep showing up.
Yeah.
But it was a trailer, okay? So you know how they're just like one long like house.
Yeah.
I had the very back bedroom, and then it was like the hallway. I had the washer and dryer on the right side, and then it was like bathroom, and then my parents' bedroom, and then it just cuts open to the living room and then the kitchen, all that right there.
Yeah.
And so me making my journey from my room, because I had just woken up to go to the living room, the second I turned the corner, there's an old man sitting in our living room chair.
Oh.
And again, like a still picture, gray and white.
What kind of energy were you attracting back then?
I don't... 4-year-old.
That's such an odd thing for you to see that almost back to back and it be the same vibe. Like,
yeah, because it was just like a still... I'm pretty sure the old man, when I had described him, because it's, again, like a typical old man.
yeah.
Like, he's just wearing his little pants, a little button-up shirt, and he's just sitting there chilling. I think when I had described it, I'm pretty sure it was, like, either my great-grandpa or one of my, like, great-uncles.
Yeah.
But they have been dead for, like, years. So it wasn't anything, like, recent, but it was just, like, I come in there, there's a dude sitting there.
Ugh.
And, again, I was like, oh, who is this? But it's, like... The funny kind of weird thing is that I wouldn't get scared or anything. I was just like sitting there staring at the person.
Yeah.
For both stories.
Well, like, what do you even do in that situation?
Like making eye contact, but I could tell that they're not like, they weren't fully there.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of like residual energy, but it's like not residual because they didn't show up to the house.
Like, they weren't ever there on record, and
yeah,
it's just like, it's just a thing.
yeah, it was really weird, and then I never saw either of them ever again, and I never had a similar experience to that. So it was
weird. Megan said, "Little unbothered her is so good to me."
No. No, because I didn't care at all. I don't know.
Yeah, God, you're over here like you'll see these figures and you're like, oh, that's a bit inconvenient to my TV watching time.
No, literally.
And then there's me who like sees a shadow figure walk into my bathroom as a kid and it gave me like horrible bathroom anxiety at night.
Maybe we have two different tisms.
Yeah, the difference between us, me being fearful and you being like, man, get the hell out of my seat.
No, because I've always been mad about it. Even to this day. Like, if I have anything that's like... If I hear my name... Because I have a couple stories where I, like, hear my name.
Yeah.
I literally don't care. Or the times when I was, like, younger and I would, like, think that something is in my room or I would hear something... I would roll over and go to bed.
No, that's literally your solution to most of the stories you've told me. Like I don't see it in your list, but the pair of pants story.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you saying that just like a pair of legs walking into your room, you looked at it and went, neat, and then just turned around and went to bed.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like that one, I didn't put the pants story in there because I felt like it was just me lucid dreaming.
Maybe.
Or like hallucinating because I was like in the middle of the night. I had like just opened my eyes for some reason.
Yeah.
It was giving delirious. But it still it literally made me laugh. Like I laughed at it.
Yeah.
So my room now, but like I think it was maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. Because this was how long ago? Like what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Not even that long ago. I just like woke up. I had kind of rolled over in the middle of my sleep, opened my eyes, and this like cartoonish like pair of pants just phases through my door.
Like cartoonishly like round.
Yeah, and I literally like belt to ankles, like that's what it was. It's just like your typical blue cartoon pants with a belt. Like chunky.
Yeah.
And I giggled at it and I went, this is stupid, and I rolled over and went back to sleep.
That's what I'm saying. Your stories are so strange, and then your reaction is just so chill.
I don't know, because what am I gonna do?
I guess, yeah. What are you gonna like square up to the pants?
Like, what was I supposed to approach the old people and be like, "Who are you?"
Ew, yeah, because that, ugh.
Because that was another thing. Like, I've never, like, approached anything. I've never gone to anything. It's always, like, at a distance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Megan said, "Just Pants is crazy. That's so her."
I would literally pull up a picture of it and send it to her to get the point across of the cartoon pants.
The meme pants, where they get thrown up in the air.
Cartoon blue jeans. No, literally.
Here, do you want me to look up cartoon blue jeans?
Yes, cartoon blue jeans, and it's the first photo.
It's the first photo? No! Oh my gosh.
That's why I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm just like hallucinating because this is too stupid.
Here, I'm gonna show it in a second. That's crazy.
Oh my god. Well, and then like after the pants thing, the like memes, you know, the like shitpost memes where the pair of pants was floating in the air.
Yeah.
That's all I could think about after that, and that's all I kept seeing. So every time I would tell that story, I would just think of that, and I'd be like, just think of the video, and that's what it looked like.
That's so good. Yeah, because I remember seeing that video and you going, "That's what it looked like," and I was like, "What?"
Oh my god, I hope that like that ended up being like a real pair of pants.
Like a real pair of pants?
Like a half, like this cut in half man comes through my door, but all I see is his pants.
God.
Like, what was I supposed to be afraid of that?
Can you imagine the energy that his jeans hold?
Those jeans got 1,000 aura.
1,000 aura? Like instead of a ghost wore pants.
Literally. And you were shaped like a circle.
Didn't you say it also just kind of assessed the room and then walked right back out?
Yes! Oh my god!
Like it just kind of walked in, did like a little like, and then just turned around and walked right back out.
I forgot about that detail. Yes, because you know how cartoon pants walk?
Yeah.
Yes, it took like one step through the door, like phased through the door one step, stood there for a second, turned around and walked back through the door. And that's why I said this is so stupid.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is so goofy. I can't even believe this right now. This isn't even scary. This is like comedy night right now.
That's also like one of the last ghost incidents you had in your house. Like, I've been like waiting to see something, and the last incident on record is the fucking pants.
Well, like I think it was before the pants. I've had a couple where I would like see white faces out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
But nothing tops the pants. And then I haven't had anything at my house ever since then.
That's insane.
Yeah. Every other house, though, I've always had problems.
The name being called part of your... That one's crazy to me.
Well, yeah, because... So, after the old man at my house, that was at my trailer. We had moved. I'm skipping that one, actually.
Oh.
I'm going to the next one, because I'm going in order of what houses.
Yeah.
So, I moved from the trailer, and I moved into my actual house, which is like, what, second grade to fourth is how long I stayed there. That house I swear to God, there was something in that house. Because I remember when we were touring houses and stuff, we all liked the house like a lot.
Yeah.
But there was a stepping stone out in the backyard that had "Rest in Peace" and somebody's name on it.
What?
And it was like a person's name. It wasn't like a family pet or anything. It was
like Reginald.
Name. Yeah, like a grown person's name. And I remember asking about it because when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to live in a haunted house. Like I had such a weird I don't want anything in the house. So I guess the old people kind of scared me.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't want to live in a haunted house. Would it be cool? Yes. Do I want it? No.
That's verbatim what my mother said. That's like almost exactly what my mom was like. Yeah, the idea of that seemed so cool until we really lived in it, and then I was like, wow, I really hate this.
Yeah. That house had like an unfinished basement and stuff, and it was like that. I think it was a 70s house.
Oh,
So
no.
The layout was kind of weird. So
Yeah.
that's when my parents started sleeping separate. So he had his own room, and then my mom had the master bedroom, and then I had the one next to hers. So my dad's room was some like weird. It was supposed to be like an office area because the door. He had two doors, one actual door and then one sliding door. Because the sliding door was from the kitchen.
Yeah.
The house layout's really weird. And by
Yeah,
the way,
that is really strange.
they renovated that house after we moved completely.
Ooh.
Like walled off that office and made it into an actual bedroom. The whole entire basement is furnished and has extra rooms in it now.
That's like our old house, yeah.
Yeah. So my dad's room was where most of the stuff happened.
Yeah.
Because I think he was having sleeping problems, so he was kind of a light sleeper. And that's when he would get like whispers, he would get shaken. That was what started first, was him being like shook to like wake up.
Ew.
And then he heard whispering and stuff, but it all had like, I'm trying to think. He said that it all reminded him of his grandma, who had passed away like maybe 2 to 4 years before we moved there.
Yeah.
So kind of recent. And that was where he was also working at his other job, the warehouse one, where his name got called in the middle of an empty warehouse. While he was on a forklift. So this is the same era. It was like he was driving a forklift down this empty path. Literally, no one was in the building. Everyone was in different buildings. Everyone else was at like lunch and stuff. So it was just him finishing up stuff. And he heard his name get called with her voice.
Gross.
Yeah.
Hate that.
And then is when he would have the sleeping problems. His feet would get touched. His blanket would get pulled. He would hear somebody whispering in front of his face. So like your typical horror movie where it's like you open your eyes and there's like a person in front of you type thing.
Yeah.
That's how close the whispering would be.
Bro, what is wrong? What is going on?
See why I said this house is weird? It had a really nice backyard and everything.
It was too nice.
Yeah, it had metal clotheslines that were built into the backyard, which I thought was weird.
That's weird.
It's like 60s to me.
Yeah.
Like 60s, 70s. Because I would use those as little monkey bars.
That's how sturdy they were?
Yes, they were metal.
Oh my god.
They were literally metal pipes with the lining that goes across.
That is a really strange thing.
Yeah.
To be built into a house. That definitely feels very 60s and 70s.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the person where I said about the stepping stone, I remember asking my mom to tell the realtor, like to ask them about it.
Yeah.
Because I've done this with every other place. I'm like, has anyone died there? The person didn't die in the house, but they did die like shortly after being moved from the house.
Oh no. Well then,
Which is also funny because the house I'm in right now has the same situation.
Yeah, I think I've told you about how the tax records for my old childhood home, like it just suddenly the name is transferred to like a relative.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the next 10 years, that relative owns the house. And then like they didn't even show up to the signing for for when my parents bought the house.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee more than likely the guy died in the house. And that's what was haunting it. So it sounds like a similar situation.
Yeah, because I don't really think the realtor would be like, yeah, they died in the house.
Well, I think they're legally required to tell you if someone did.
But back then, really?
I mean, yeah, I guess who would have caught that?
My neighborhood was filled with a bunch of like older families and older couples and stuff.
Oh, so everybody was dying up in that place.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
um,
That's the kind of neighborhood that gets bulldozed into a Walmart.
no, literally, it's a really cute neighborhood. I kind of miss it
Yeah.
because that's where I would like ride my bike to school every day. Like I didn't have the threat of being kidnapped.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. That was also when my mom, the one time she actually had something happen to her was I say she had sleep paralysis. She says she doesn't because she can move her legs.
Oh.
But she was in bed and it was like in the middle of the night. I didn't hear any of this happening. My dad heard it and got up. I was dead asleep. I think this is why I'm like 5 or 6. I think I lived there from however old you are, second grade, to however old you are for fourth grade. But I'm pretty sure it was like around third.
About 7 to 9.
Yeah, around there, because I had like all my birthdays there. She had like woke up and started screaming and kicking her legs because there was a man at the end of the bed.
Ew, 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 ew.
Yeah, like really tall, like suited man. But like you can't see the features, it's just like the black figure, but it's like really tall.
Like the Benadryl dude.
Yeah, like Hat Man, but like he didn't have a hat.
Hatman, but he left the hat at home.
Yeah, he left that at home.
Well, if she had the full sleep paralysis, then he would have brought the hat.
Yeah.
But it's because she could
that's-
kick her legs. He's like, I'm
She
not
could kick-
damaging.
Yeah, she could
My
kick her
hat.
legs and yell, even though she wasn't really moving much.
Yeah, that sounds like a mixture of fight and freeze.
Yeah,
Like everything else froze up, but she could still like kick her legs and scream.
yeah. And then I'm gonna assume that my dad came in there and turned all the lights on, because that was pretty much the extent of the story from that she told me,
Yeah.
was that she saw the hat man with no hat.
Get her
Brim,
on
no
the
brim.
mic. Brim, no brim.
Brim, no brim.
The next one you have is the craziest one to me.
Yeah, my best work.
This has to be probably like the golden story of all of them.
Yeah, because I have no recollection of it.
Yeah, you've only heard this story from other people, and it's
Yeah,
about you.
I have my own version of it. Everyone else has a different version of it. So I had my friend sleeping over. I don't remember the occasion. I think she was hanging out with me for the weekend. Because that's when we went to Disney on Ice.
Oh my god. Our workout buddy's favorite event.
We did like Disney on Ice, and then this is when I had Georgia.
Yeah.
This was like a year after, or no, not a year, a couple months after me having her, because I was like, hey guys, I got a dog. Like, who wants to come over and play with her?
I want to see my
So
wolf hybrid.
She was spending the weekend with me. We had Disney on Ice. We were playing in my basement, whatever. So my basement was like fine. It had like a living room down there. The computer was down there. I had my own playroom, and then George's kennel was in where the washer and dryer were.
Goated.
Yeah. So it was like nice. There's carpet and everything. It's a basement, okay? I remember one of the nights that she was sleeping, we slept in my bed together. A twin size. Crazy.
Well, children.
Also, rest in peace to this friend. Love her. Miss her.
Oh no, it's this one?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Rest in peace, my queen.
Yeah.
She was sleeping next to me. My version, okay, I had a lamp on as a nightlight in my room. And I was sleeping, and I had woken up because I was sick and tired of girls snoring. She was snoring so loud. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna move, because I was like, I don't want to go into my parents' room because I don't want her to like wake up in the middle of the night and be like, where'd she go? And it's like, I'm sleeping with my mommy.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that. So I got up and walked into the living room. No other lights are on in this house. So I'm like walking around in the dark, which I had a fear of the dark.
Ooh.
Which was a little weird to me, but I was like, whatever. I needed sleep so bad. So I was like, I'm going to try to sleep on the couch. I lay down on the couch with my little blankie. And I'm like, oh my god, I can still hear her.
That's insane.
I was like, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go down to the basement.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate the basement and I hate the dark. But when I was walking down there, the lamp was on down there. So I'm walking down the stairs. I'm like, cool, they left the light on. I'm going to go down there and lay on the couch. Even though I hate it, I really need to sleep. And I lay down on the couch. I laid there for like a couple minutes or whatever. Didn't like it. Felt so creeped out that I got up and went back to bed. And that's my story.
From your perspective.
Yeah. My parents' perspective was that I had gotten up in the pitch black, walked all the way down there in the pitch black, and was sitting on the couch staring into the TV. And they had both gotten up because they heard me, and they were waiting at the top of the stairs. And this is when my dad was like, if she comes running up the stairs, I'm gonna fucking punch her in the face. Because my mom was like, you have to go get her. And he was like, no, I'm not getting her. Because if she's gonna come at me like this, all crazy, I'm gonna literally punch her.
What's even the like thought process do you think went through their heads? Like, what even led them to checking the basement? Was they just heard you go down there?
Yeah, they said that I was like sleepwalking. I was like, no, I was fully awake and cognitive. I went
that's
down to the
so
basement
strange.
by choice. The lights were on.
Yeah.
To me, the lights were on. One lamp in my room, one lamp in the basement.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, it's pitch black down here, and you're sitting at the edge of the couch staring into the black TV. And I was like, that's cool. That didn't happen, I swear to you.
Yeah.
It was literally, they had like, I think my dad said they called my name. Neither of them walked down the basement stairs, by the way. They had called my name, and I had just gotten up and walked upstairs, and they put me back to bed.
Do you even remember them being involved in this story at all?
No.
So you literally, to yourself, you just went to bed.
Yeah.
To them, they had to take you to bed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
And literally to this day, I don't know what happened.
It's the weirdest story of sleepwalking I've ever heard. Because all of my sleepwalking stories, I don't remember anything from my perspective other than the aftermath.
I never even had a history of sleepwalking either, at all.
Yeah. When were you told that this occurred?
I think they literally talked about it like the next day. And I was like, no. I went down there willingly. And then I don't think we ever talked about it until like a couple years ago when we were talking about stories again. And they had told me that, and I was like, I swear to you, and even back then, I swear to you still, that that's not what happened.
Yeah,
So like, I've been consistent with my story.
I don't even know how to approach something like that. It's such an odd case of sleepwalking. I've never heard a story like this before you told me this. Like, all the sleepwalking stories I've ever heard are literally, I woke up in the middle of sleepwalking. Yeah. Never, I just, I got up, I walked down to the basement, tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, got up, went to bed. Then the other party that witnessed you is like, yeah, what's that one movie with the girl in the white dress with the black hair?
The Ring?
Yeah, in classic Ring fashion, you walked through the pitch black house, went down into the basement, sat and stared at a blank TV in the pitch black, and then got up and went to bed.
Like, I firmly believed in my story that I thought my parents were lying to me.
It's such an insane story.
It's giving Insidious.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
Where the kid is like in a different realm.
Ew, yeah, no, I can see what you're talking about.
The astral projecting thing. But if it was astral projecting, it wouldn't be... Or
you wouldn't physically be walking around like that, would you?
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Well, because I was going to be like, I'm pretty sure if you astral project, you don't really see much color. But then I was like, no, hold on, because it was like weird lighting. I don't know.
Did it look like a muted dream to you?
Yeah. Maybe
That
I
is
did,
creepy.
but I don't know how.
I will tell my sleepwalking story from a couple of years ago, and then we'll move farther down your list. But because now that we're on the topic, you remember this story because it was a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what caused this. I've thought about posting about it on like a sleep paralysis forum, or not sleep paralysis, like a sleepwalking forum.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a kid, I did sleepwalk once. I sleepwalked from what I remember, I sleepwalked from my bedroom to the couch in the living room because earlier that day I had been begging to sleep on the couch because I just thought it was so cool because I had TV access if I slept on the couch. And my parents said no, and that was the end of it. And then I woke up to go to school the next day, and I was on the couch. Blanket, pillow, everything. My dad said he got up at around midnight to get something from the kitchen, and I was on the couch. So between like 9:30 and midnight, I got up and went to go sleep on the couch. Super innocent story, pretty funny. I don't remember doing any of that. I just remember waking up. The more horrifying sleepwalking story I have is the one from a couple years ago where I woke up in the middle of turning the shower off because the noise of like the pin dropping in the like little faucet thing, the loud noise that it made is what snapped me out of it. I like very vaguely remember the actual shower itself, but it looked like a dream. So, like, I was still technically sleeping during it. And when I woke up, it was pitch black in the bathroom, no lights were on. I hadn't done anything in there other than just drench myself in water and stand under the water, not moving, and then shut the shower off. And I remember I got out of the shower like panicked because I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I dried off. I went into my bedroom thinking it was like time to go to work. That's why I was up. I just was in such a sleepy haze. I don't remember getting up and starting the shower. It was like 4 a.m. Not even. It was like probably like 3:45. And I wasn't supposed to wake up until 6 a.m. So, for some reason, I woke up at around 3 something, went to the bathroom, took all my clothes off, started the shower the correct way, on the right setting and everything. Got in, stood under the water for like an undisclosed amount of time, and then shut the shower off, and that's when I woke up.
You were in the dark too.
I was in the dark. Now, I will say, I used to take showers in the dark in high school, but I hadn't taken a shower in the dark in like years at this point. And usually when I did take a shower in the dark, I had like night lights in the bathroom so I could still sort of see. None of my night lights were on. So like, this would have made 0 sense even for awake me to take a shower like this. I also frowned upon taking showers in the dark before work because it was so early, I would get super sleepy in the shower and it would take me longer. So this was a very out of character move for me. I also didn't do anything. I didn't condition my hair. I had barely even like thoroughly gotten my hair wet. The underneath layer of my hair was still somewhat dry. I hadn't washed myself. Nothing. So like, I had literally just gotten in the shower, stood there, shut the shower off. It's so strange. And when I try to think about it, like I vaguely remember the beginning parts in like a very muted dream type of way. But that's it. The main part I remember is waking up in the shower.
I fear that's stress induced.
I think at the time, that was the theory between the two of us, was that I was super stressed about something. And that's what caused it.
This is also the time period where we were doing FaceTime at night.
Oh, it was, yeah. You were still on FaceTime. Do you remember? Because I picked up.
Woken up, And you were like, I literally just took a shower. And
I woke you up.
I was like, what?
I woke up, I was like, I don't know why I'm awake. I just got up and I guess took a shower. And
Yeah,
you were like, what?
I vaguely remember hearing you like shuffle out of bed. Because I was kind of a light sleeper when we did FaceTime.
Yeah.
Just because you also, during this time, were so bad at talking.
Moving around a lot.
In your sleep and talking to me and you would have full conversations. And then I would ask you about it the next morning. And you're like, I wasn't even awake.
I used to sleep like I had been awake for 72 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I used to sleep really hard and in like a really nervous, like anxiety-ridden way where either whether it be FaceTime or we're physically sleeping next to each other, I would just start talking.
Yeah. And I mean, I did that to you too sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But
Only if you were responding to me. I would just start talking.
yeah. Like recently, the last time we had called, because I end up falling asleep anyways on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like literally in the beginning stages of sleeping, still responding to you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you said this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I did.
You end up like not remembering the last 30 minutes of the conversation.
Yeah, and I'm like fully responding to you.
Yeah, at this time I was like accidentally hitting you in my sleep. I was pulling the blanket away from you in like a really aggressive way. I would just start like talking or like making weird noises.
The one time you hit me and I like threatened your life and you were not even fully awake and you were like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
And I have zero recollection of this.
You stuck your arm straight out in the air and
then dropped it on your
free
face.
Free fall on my head.
I remember. I know. I do actually kind of remember that. You telling me that I responded to you by going, I'm so sorry. No recollection.
Yeah, because when that happened, I was like just opening my eyes because I heard you move around and I just see your arm heading straight for my head. And I threw your arm off and I got up and I was like, what is your problem? I said, why would you hit me? And you were like, what? I'm sorry. And I was like, what is wrong with you?
That's so funny.
You were beating me up that night.
I know. Domestic violence in the sheets.
Literally.
DV in the streets, DV in the sheets.
Oh my god.
There's also like cases where haven't I like shoved you away from me and stuff like that?
Like I only remember like once or twice.
I think I also kicked you once. Kind of hard too.
Yeah, it's a lot of you abusing me in your sleep.
I think it was just me being anxious and getting really hot because you were like an inch away from me and you generate more heat than the sun.
Yeah.
And so my brain would just be like, I'm boiling, get it away. And I would just start like shoving you away from me or trying to get away from you to the point where wasn't there a time where I literally fell off the bed?
Yeah.
I like rolled off the bed and I woke up. I was like, what the fuck was that?
Wasn't that at my house?
Yes. Dude, if I had rolled off my bed, I would have like knocked myself out.
You would have been impaled probably.
Yeah, I probably would have had to like go to the hospital for a concussion if I fell off my bed. I rolled off your bed, which is thankfully only like a foot off the ground. And so it woke me up instantly because I landed weird. Oh my god. Yeah, I have way too many anxiety-ridden stories about me sleeping.
Fine, you're better now.
Nothing will beat your poltergeist story, though.
What, me?
You sleepwalking into the basement and being quote-unquote possessed.
I love that story so much.
It's just so horrifying.
Well, it's like when I was younger, I would have like the most intense, weird stories, and then the older I got, just nothing.
Yeah.
It just kind of dwindled the older I got, and I think it's because I'm not paying attention as much, and I also just don't really care, so nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, tell the story about your old friend's house. In the
Yeah. God, how many? I think it was like a group sleepover of 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
We were also telling ghost stories that night too.
Oh my god.
Because she was telling me about how she was pretty sure that her house and the whole neighborhood was built on like war ground almost, like walking paths to go to like one of the battlefields.
Probably.
Because she was telling us that night how her and her sister had like heard something in their house, and they both woke up at the same time, and they were like, oh my god, there was a dude in full like battle gear
Yeah.
walking around. And I think she said it was that it was one guy walked from one bedroom to the other, and they had just watched him walk through.
Bro, how do you not like scream?
That's what I'm saying. But it was also, they had described it in the same way I described the 2 other people, the old people.
Yeah.
It's a still picture color, gray and white, except he's actually moving through the house.
Mm.
And that's why I was like, oh my god, I have like the similar experience where I've seen this color, like they looked like this.
Yeah.
And that's what made me be like, I'm not that crazy. I'm not crazy if somebody else saw a full like soldier in their house.
Yeah.
But that same night, I was sleeping on her floor, and she had like a loft bed. So it was her and one other girl up there, and then me and the other girl. And then I really wish I remembered. I'm pretty sure there's one other person because she had like 3 separate mattresses, and we just all kind of made like a pallet on the ground.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, because I remember checking my phone during this too. I had woken up because I was like, oh my god, I need like a sip of water. Literally anything. And I had opened my eyes, and I see towards my feet by her closet and her door, there's just like the figure on the bathroom sign type thing.
Yeah.
Of a shadow person, like kind of bent down looking at all of our bags. And I could see like an arm kind of move, and it looked like he was literally like shuffling through everyone's stuff.
That's weird.
And that was a moment I said, I don't need any water, and I'm actually not gonna move.
Please.
And I shut my eyes and went back to sleep. Because that one I was like, ugh. Because this one's in high school. I was like, I don't really feel comfortable, actually.
That there was just a man.
Just like a shadow person.
I've had
like no human-like features, just like the shape and outline, and it was gray and fuzzy, like static. That's what it is.
Like
it's
blurry,
very staticky, and you can tell that there is literally an object in the air, and it's not like you're seeing anything. It's got actual like body to it.
I've had theories about that story.
Yeah.
That it was actually like a real person.
Oh, like an actual like spirit?
No, like a member of the household was in the room at one point, and you were just like really tired, and it was dark in the room, and you couldn't tell that it was an actual person.
Well, it wasn't that dark in the room.
Oh.
Because I could see everything in the room. It's just that everything was like black and gray.
Yeah.
But like it was the way that her wall in her closet was, it was all like one color. And the fact that I could see a static outline of the shape of a person, no features on them, was what weirded me out. So it wasn't, I don't think that it was an actual person.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it was a real person, that'd be infinitely scarier.
Yeah, it just in my head I went, this is a shadow person, and I am not about to make any noise to signify that I am awake, because they were moving so human like that it bothered me more.
You see what I mean by like if it was an actual person, that makes it all the worse.
Yeah, because why are you looking through stuff?
Exactly.
But it's like he's not touching anything or picking up anything because it just looked like his arm was going through all of the bags.
Oh.
Which also reminds me, when I was younger, when we had to put my cat down, the staticky thing, I remember like laying in bed because I was like about to go to sleep. My mom was still awake. My dad was like getting ready for bed and everything. So all of us were still fully awake. I had my door open and my bed was right in the middle of my room, and I was like on this left side staring into the hallway, and I just see a blue static cat walk through the hallway and then disappear right at my door. I did not blink. I wasn't asleep or anything. It was me fully seeing my cat walk down the hallway after we had just put her down.
Yeah, that definitely
And it had the same like staticky like look.
Ugh.
Except there was more features on the cat because it was weird, like almost like electric blue kind of. Do you remember the picture I drew of it?
Yeah, I do.
That was on my fridge.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it. Was that it was like staticky blue and it had like kind of like a fuzziness to it. And I was like, that's my cat.
Yeah.
And then literally just gone. Like poof in the air, gone.
It's like a detailless Star Wars Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I could put two and two together and be like, that's the same thing. So I feel like those I would consider actual spirits. Whereas I feel like the still image type old people was somebody, but they're not there.
It's just energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do I want to talk about your house.
Yeah.
Like just get into your house.
So, yeah, I think you wrote down the staircase story.
Yeah.
And you've seen other crazy stuff in my house, and I have some stories too, like...
I just think the staircase one is the creepiest.
Yeah, because that's like one of the ones that made you genuinely look terrified to be in the house.
Yeah.
And...
it wasn't even that bad either.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. I'm pretty sure you were the only one that saw it. But like my cats were aware of it. That's what also freaked you out.
I didn't see anything. It was the fact that it was in broad daylight in the middle of the day. You were in the bathroom and I was sitting on the stairs, like the top part of your stairs.
Yeah.
With both of your cats and nobody else was in the house. And I'm sitting there petting them and like playing with them. And on the bottom set of the stairs, in between the railing, I hear something hit the sides, like someone took a hand and like kind of like hit it back and forth, where it was like doo doo doo.
Yeah.
Me and both your cats stare right at the spot, and I just had like chills all the way up my body.
Yeah, and like that happens somewhat often here too, like where it sounds like someone's coming up and down the stairs. And I always write it off in my brain as it being one of the fat ass cats in this house. Mostly because I don't want to think about it. For me, it's Cope. But like when you see it and then the cats react with you, thank God I wasn't there. Because I think I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to take a 2-week vacation from this place. I'm not coming in. But yeah, so there's that story. There's a story where you saw somebody in my hallway, in my door, like through my doorway at night. You see a lot of stuff in my house that I don't.
Not anymore, but
not anymore.
Yeah.
I hear things, you see them. And that's what freaks me out, is that, like, you saw... Sorry, I thought I saw a shadow move in the camera. See, I'm already getting nervous. I thought I saw the recliner shadow get bigger. But, it didn't. I'm just stupid. I know. But, like, you have the story where you saw something in my hallway, like, walk past the office. All my stories are, like... hearing people walk around upstairs when no one's home, or hearing people talk downstairs to themselves at around like 3 a.m. Because because I would have to get up around 3 a.m. almost every night to go to the bathroom, and I would walk out of the room and I could just hear someone talking to themselves downstairs. And I always said it was either a man, a woman, or a little girl, never a little boy. And my theory was that I'm the boy in that equation, and that's why I don't ever hear it. And because that would be like the nuclear family.
Well, the time that you had opened the door and I said I saw something,
Yeah.
was literally me seeing a little boy, but it was a deformed little boy.
Ew, 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 ew.
Yeah.
Ew. I'm going to
So
start
if you're-
looking around me. So if I'm looking for the little boy, he's here.
But I never had anything after that, so
Yeah.
take that however you want.
I mean, we've had like stuff fall and bang on the floor, and then when we go and investigate, nothing's there. Like no evidence of anything falling, no evidence of anything hitting the floor. And like he can back me, my dad can back me up. Also, if you want to make a chat with them in it, or if they should just join the Forbidden Discord,
I was gonna say the Forbidden Discord just because it's easier for you
Alright.
to go to.
then we'll I'll join the recording chat. But yeah, stuff like oh yeah, like stuff would fall, and then like we would go and look everywhere upstairs, could never find what fell. And like we would even pinpoint where it fell at, find nothing. And it happened so frequently. And then like he says that he hears someone sit down in this exact chair that I'm sitting in right now when I'm not home. Like he says that he'll just be watching something on TV and then hear the signature like popping noise that the hydraulic part of my chair makes when I sit down in it. And he's like, and then I'll look on Light 360 and yeah, you're not here.
His stories are crazy.
His stories are insanely creepy. Him hearing people walking around upstairs when I'm not home. Him hearing someone sitting in my chair when I'm not home.
I love the one of the couple having a conversation literally right next to him and there being nobody there.
What was that one? I forgot that one.
When he was sleeping in the dining room.
Oh, yeah. No, because I told you, so the story about someone talking downstairs alone, I used to always say that it sounded like it was coming from the dining room. And then in like 2020 and 2021, my dad was sleeping in the dining room. And what was even this? I forgot what the story was. This is such a old story to me.
I think he was just like sleeping in there and he had woken up because it literally sounded like there was a couple. I can't remember if he said sounded like they were arguing or just talking really loudly in the kitchen, like the living room, like dining area over there.
Yeah, and then he said, well, like he walked out of the dining room and it stopped.
Yeah, and then there was also the time where he said that he was woken up by someone like yelling at him, like yelling whisper.
Yeah.
Like right in his ear. That's what reminded me of my dad's stories at our first house because of the whole whispering, like literally right next to you.
Yeah. That was the problem, was that dude, he's gotten targeted so much. Like my mom revealed a new thing to me where he had something like biting his chest in his sleep.
Gross.
In his sleep, and he was like trying to pull it off of him, and it woke my mom up. And then it stopped. Yeah. The one of the other stories that my mom tells in the segment before this was that the thing that made her like call out and be like, stop, you're scaring me, was when she was in her room and she would hear whispering all the time. And she was sitting, she was laying in her bed, and then something just went, hey, right in her ear.
Yeah, that's gross.
And that's when she like sat up, started crying, and was like, please leave me alone, you're scaring me. And she said it mostly stopped after that. Which actually, that's what led me to the theory that the thing that was causing all of the later stuff was her grandfather, and her saying that is what made it stop, because he probably felt bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense because any like ghost story I've heard or like watched on TV, a lot of the investigations and stuff are from family members that have passed
Yeah.
that are trying to get their attention just to say that they're either okay or whatever they needed to hear.
Yeah.
And it's always the families being like, it's just so creepy. And then they like get in contact and it's just like, I just wanted to say hey.
Yeah, but it comes across so eerie and gross because you don't know. Especially if you've never experienced something like that in your life.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else from this house?
Not really. Mostly just because I didn't really get that much. You would have more experiences while I was there, and I wouldn't hear anything. Girl.
What?
I'm watching. Why did you look behind yourself?
Stop. Because I'm getting nervous. I'm like
Mama,
seeing things that aren't there.
behind you.
Mama, there's a ghost behind you.
Didn't you have... Oh no, we saw something... Was it me that saw something in the TV, or was it both of us that saw something in the TV?
No, we both saw something in the TV once.
That was disgusting.
That was gross. That's what made me shut the door. Because remember, that's when I started doing the gate and the doorway to cool off the room. And one day we just saw something move in the hallway, and we were like, yeah, fuck that. And we shut the door from that point forward.
Overheat and die
Yeah. We were like, we would rather die of a heat stroke than see shit in the TV.
Oh, you know what? I do remember one other experience that I had where I actually got to hear something downstairs when your dad was gone and it was just me and you upstairs.
Yeah.
Because I think we were like laying in your bed, in your bedroom, and I was like, who is here? I literally said somebody's in the house. Like that's how it sounded. It sounded like someone had shut the door and walked around.
Didn't I get up and like walk around downstairs with like a weapon in my hand? I'm pretty sure I like did a full SWAT team style sweep of the downstairs area. I've done that so many times now. Like I'll hear something in the garage that sounds like someone's breaking in, and I grab the baseball bat and just start clearing rooms. It's crazy, and it's what's fueled my like paranoia over so many years. Is just me hearing stuff that sounds like someone might be breaking in, and I'm like, yep, this is what I've been training for. And I walk around with like a weapon in my hands. It's so bad for my mental stability.
Yeah.
And then you have the latest story from Saturday.
Oh, at my grandma's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not my story, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we were... I don't really think it's that crazy. But we were at my grandma's house this last weekend, and she's got like a really creepy basement and just a, in general, kind of gross back area where the bedrooms are and stuff. And my dad was walking down the hallway back to the living room from one of the back bedrooms to get something. And when I don't know why he turned around either.
Yeah.
Do you even remember why?
No, I think he just wanted to look inside her room.
Yeah, something. But mind you, she's had a couple, like she has told me that she has seen things walk.
Yeah.
Between those two doors. But literally my dad had turned, and right as he turned, he said that it just looked like a giant white mist that went from one room, went through the wall into the other room. That's how he described it. It wasn't a person, it wasn't human shape or anything, it was literally just a blob of white mist that went through.
Yeah.
Which, like, I would say could be her window reflection or any light shining through. Just because it was in the middle of the day. But the fact that she has had other instances where she has seen things walk from room to room.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Actually, it was overcast.
Okay. Okay.
I very distinctly remember it being overcast.
Oh my god.
Should we join the? Huh?
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm done.
Okay.
That's all of my stories I have.
All right, now we're gonna bring in 2 more guests, one of which has actually been on this podcast before. So we're gonna hop into that channel right now. Ooh. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh God.
YouTube stream. I wasn't expecting that. The delay got me off. Hi.
We have invaded. So
Is our audio good since we're in the same room?
yeah, it's all fine.
Okay.
We're not doubling or anything.
No.
Okay, cool.
So y'all have some good stories I might have heard.
Do. So I've been brainstorming spooky stories from my life. I don't have any like ghost stories or anything, but I've had some scary shit happen around me.
Yeah.
So hold on, which one first? Babe, which one should I tell first?
Maybe go from like youngest to oldest. That's what Rory did.
Okay.
True, the chronological order.
That's kind of what I was gonna do too. Is
Well, now I can't remember what the third one was because there was the one that you haven't heard yet, and then there was the one when I was doing ride sharing, and then there was
Ooh.
another one.
oh the would you call it sleepwalking or
Yeah, my
you're
sleepwalking
just
story. Okay.
freaking out?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with the sleepwalking one then, because that was when I was a child.
Ooh.
So I would chronically sleepwalk when I was little, and I would terrify the shit out of my little I'm the little one, my older sister. I would terrify the shit out of my sister. Yeah. So there were times when like she would wake up and I would just be in the hallway, and she would have to like guide me back to my bed.
Oh my god.
This first story is kind of funny actually, in hindsight. So she gets up one night and she just hears running down the hallway, and she's like freaked the fuck out, obviously. So she gets up and like her room is at the very end of our hall of the hallway at our old house, and she peeks out of her room and just sees me in the dark sprinting at her.
Oh my god.
Now, granted, I'm like 5.
That's
So imagine a little 5-year-old sprinting at you down a hallway
that's
in the middle
horrifying.
of the night. So yeah, me doing that. Like my room was like right before hers, so like I at the last minute like darted into my room, like started running in circles, and then ran back out of the room, just running around the house, and then I darted into the bathroom and peed in the bathtub.
Oh.
So that's the funny ending.
That's an interesting
the-
way. I didn't expect it to end like that.
Yeah, okay. The next story is when I was like, oh shit, how old was I? I was in high school, so I must have been like maybe 16, 17. And we had this really quiet neighbor, kind of creepy guy.
Yeah.
We didn't really know him that well. And there was like this was like the first house that my family had when I was a kid, that we had like 2 stories. And so all the bedrooms were on the second floor, but there was an old like office room on the first floor that was supposed to be like an office for when this was like a model home.
Yeah.
But I decided randomly that I wanted to move into that room. And this room was like right next, it was the only room on the bottom floor, had its own bathroom. There was like a big window right next to the front door, so I could like get a bunch of light in this room. Fucking loved this room. But it was right next to the front door, and there, like I said, there was that big ass window, and I had my bed right in front of it. One night, I'm asleep, and we had like a motion sensor on the light at the front door. Never was a problem before. And one night it just goes off, illuminates my room. Obviously, I have my blinds shut, but I can just turns on, scares the shit out of me. I wake up and there is a silhouette of a man right at my window.
Oh.
Ew. Ew.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Horrible.
I recognized the symbol as this man. I was about to say his name, but I'll leave his name out.
We'll call him Jerry.
We'll call him Jerry. I saw the silhouette of Jerry, and he had a very kind of recognizable like slouch because he just kind of like quietly walked around the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I recognized who it was, and like after like a little bit, because I crawled off of my bed and kind of almost got underneath my bed as much as I could, and just kind of stood there, kind of staring at this man's silhouette, like what the fuck is he gonna do? And he finally just like walks away, and I just sprint upstairs.
Oh my god.
Banging on my parents' door, like, Mom, Dad, Jerry was at my window. What the fuck do I?
Oh.
And yeah, so my dad, he goes and talks to him the next morning, and he like made some bullshit excuse, like, oh, like I noticed that your guys' like plants near your front door was messed up, so I was trying to fix the plants. And I'm like, no, he was standing at my window. Like,
Let him
my
in. He's
my
cold.
window was perpendicular to the front door, like perpendicular to it. So if he was messing with the plants at the front door, he would have been facing the fucking door,
Yeah.
not my window,
I hate
where a
that.
15-year-old boy is sleeping.
That's gross.
That is super gross.
I'm at like
Yeah.
a loss for words after that one.
Yeah, so we couldn't really do much. This guy was very scary. He did have like a mail order bride that he ordered from Korea,
Oh.
North Korea specifically. And then randomly she disappeared.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy
And then
sounds like a
one
real
night-
catch.
Yeah, then one night my mom, she swears that she went outside one night to take out the trash, and he was this was like really late at night, and Jerry was standing in the center of the cul-de-sac, peeing on the manhole cover in the center of the cul-de-sac.
What's all the peeing related?
I don't know.
All these
It was
pee
just
stories.
the weirdest fucking thing. This guy was strange, and he was standing in front of my window.
The pea man.
The pee man. Do not
Keep
put a
it
little
calm.
pee under your pillow for the pee man.
No.
The third story I have was also scary, not necessarily for me, but for the person who I picked up. Like I said, I was doing ride sharing. I was driving for Lyft and Uber in Sacramento at the time.
Yeah.
And this had to have been around 2016. Yeah, about 2016. I was driving around, got this. I got a notification for a pickup. Went to go pick up the person. Pulled up in front of the house, and I look at I push the button that I'm there, and I'm looking at the picture of the passenger, like so I can recognize the person, and I noticed that she comes out of a different house. Like two doors down. She's sprinting.
Oh.
Her clothes are tattered. Her makeup is running. She has bruises. and she gets into the car and screams, "Drive." And so I just put my foot down and I just screech out of there. It turns out she was a model from Los Angeles who was being sex trafficked.
Whoa. Okay, but that's such a smart way to escape that situation.
Yeah,
To call for rideshare.
She called for an Uber when no one was looking, because apparently they were about to film some stuff.
Mm.
And yeah, she called for an Uber when no one was looking, and she didn't know exactly where she was, but she saw the street name when she was on her way there, and then she saw the numbers on that house that was 2 doors down.
Wow.
So she put that in as the pickup.
Man, that's a crazy
And-
story.
Yeah, so on the way there, like, she had her phone, thankfully, and she was able to like call around. She had another contact in there that like I was even like trying to like question her about it, like, you sure this person doesn't have anything to do with who just had you? And they're like, no, like, I trust this person. You can take me there. And I'm like, are you sure I shouldn't be taking you to the fucking police station?
Yeah.
But no, she refused to let me take her to the police station, but like at least from as far as I know, I got her to a safe place. But yeah, that was scary.
It's always insane to me to see how people find out new creative ways to escape situations, like ordering pizza or being able to like order an Uber to their general location.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when like when they go to order a pizza, there's like certain keywords you say to the person to order it. I think it's like extra everything, and like urgent is usually what you're supposed to say.
Yeah, like in hindsight, I kind of wish that I did more. Like,
Yeah.
I do kind of wish that I called somebody, like called the police or tried something, because I don't know what happened after that. I just kind of went about the rest of my day, but I don't know.
Yeah, how do you
Yeah, how do you respond to something like that?
how do you go on about your day after that?
I don't know.
Oh man.
So, those are my 3 stories.
Definitely intense. 2 of which are piss related.
I'm sure if
Yeah.
I went to therapy, I could uncover more.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah.
See, for me, I don't have like anything that's like big necessarily. It's just like a lot of like little things in like my childhood. But the biggest one that was like an ongoing issue for years, and I still don't like this, but it's not like to the extent of the fear that it used to be. I feel like this is kind of like a trope that a lot of people struggle with, but I have a very, very specific reason why I was literally the most petrified of long, dark hallways.
Oh.
Because like that, like that's like a trope in a lot of horror movies and like games and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's a long, dark hallway. You don't know what's at the end of it. I have like a literal story like that. I don't even remember exactly how old I was. But we were in the house that I was born at, so I'm anywhere, and I was old enough to walk and go to the bathroom alone. Like I had one of those night lights that was on the wall that you like pushed to turn on and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to been like 2 to 4. So like pretty little still. And I remember I got up in the night because like this is like so super little, so I only have like bits and pieces of it. But like I got up in the night and I knew I had to go to the bathroom. So like went to the bathroom and I was ready to leave and I turned off the nightlight and like the way that that house was set up, it was like a pretty decent hallway. I mean, it seems bigger to me also because I was so little at that house, but my bedroom and the bathroom was like right across the hallway from each other. And my parents' room was at the very end of the hallway. So for me, being itty bitty, I leave the bathroom and out of the corner of my eye, I just see a figure at the end of the hallway in the dark, just looming at the end of the hallway, and I'm like half asleep. And I just remember turning, seeing it feel like just so enormous. And what my mom and dad said, because it was my dad, he got up in the night to also go to the bathroom. And he saw the bathroom light on. In his head, he's like, oh, she's in the bathroom. I need to make sure that I don't scare Megan. So let me go back in. And I don't know why he didn't just immediately shut the door and go back, but he had like this whole like thought process of like, oh, I need to go back because I don't want to. We just started getting her to go to the bathroom at night by herself. Like, I don't want to ruin anything. And in that moment, while he's like thinking about, oh, I need to not scare her, that's when I come out. And I just start screaming. Like, mom said this was like the loudest I had ever screamed. Like, I was like the most petrified she had ever seen me. To the point that my dad couldn't, he flipped on the hallway light and he's like, it's me, it's daddy, it's daddy. And I just wouldn't stop, even with the light on. I was just unconsolable. And then mom gets up because she's like, there's a bunch of commotion. And she comes out, and I'm sitting on my butt, scooting away from my dad in the hallway with my like little feet, just screaming and screaming and screaming because I literally, I guess in my little head, I was like, this is how I die, apparently. But like that moment legitimately traumatized me so much that I went back to calling for mom to come take me to the bathroom for like another year or so. Like, it was like dad was like, "Man, I ruined it. She was just started going to the bathroom alone, and now she's scared again, and I didn't want to go to the bathroom alone anymore." But
Oh
like
no.
I consistently had like, and like this was more of like the anxiety hallucinating, but like anytime I was in a dark hallway, I literally wouldn't look down one end because I always felt like there was something, whether it was like a lamp that was just, and the lighting was just right where it looked like a figure, but like it got to a point that in the night for years, I would wake up and I would literally, if I had to pee or anything, I'd sprint to the bathroom. And then when I was done, I would like psych myself up to leave the bathroom. And then I would run back to bed and I would get in bed and I would pretend to be asleep just in case. Because it was so like traumatic for me. And it didn't even click that what happened to me when I was a kid was why I was so scared. I was like 13 and I was telling somebody, it's like, yeah, like I don't like dark hallways. And then it like something just clicked. I was like, you know why? It's this. It stems back from when I was like 3 or whatever. See, what my dad feels bad. He's like, because when I was going to therapy for all, he's like, man, I bet you have to talk about me all the time to your therapist because I just did so many things. Because it's like some of the stuff he did on purpose, and then other things was an accident. That one was one of the accidents. One of the things that he did on purpose was we were at my parents' friend's house, and I was again really little, and it was like an old house, and they had one, like, really big air vent, like, the central air or whatever, like, the grates for it and the floor and everything, those are, like, relatively, like, small. Theirs in, like, the main part of the house was, like, huge, and I don't even remember why, but my dad and his friend decided they were going to, quote, "play a prank" on me, that did not pan out well for anybody. And my dad was like, "Oh, Megan, have you gotten to see the alligators?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about, alligators?" He's like, "Yeah, they have some alligators." And I was like, "No, I don't believe it." He's like, "No, no, no, come here." And he brings me closer to this grate in the floor, and he's like, "All right, now lean in, and they'll come up in a minute." And his friend was in the basement and starts banging on like the air ducts that are connected to that vent. in like a way that seems like something is moving inside the vent at me. I don't know why they, because like, like that kind of a noise, but like coming at you. I don't know why they thought that was gonna be like, as a 4-year-old, I'm gonna be like, ha ha ha, oh my gosh, dad. Like, if I was older, that's probably the reaction, but as a little kid, I was like, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," and I, like, climbed up him because I was scared, and the way dad tells the story is like, "But see, she came to me and I was the hero," and my mom always butts in, she's like, "Yeah, and you got punched," because when when his friend's wife found out, she was mad at him, and my mom was mad at my dad. Because I was, like, freaking out, and then I wouldn't wanna go near that grate at all, because I was like, "I don't trust it. I don't know what happened with it, and I don't know why it was weird, but I don't trust it." But it's like, those I feel like are the 2, like, biggest things that have happened, like, while I'm awake. But I used to have, like, chronic nightmares also when I was a kid.
Same.
And the one nightmare that I had that's, like, the earliest nightmare I can remember, because again, I was in the house I was born in, so it was, like, anywhere between, like, 2 and 4, and I remember having this dream where me and my mom are riding bikes in our neighborhood, and we're riding down the street, and then there's, like, a cross street, and for some reason, in the dream, I remember that my pedals weren't working right, and I was getting slowed up, and mom was just going. And I remember being like, "Mom, like like you're too far, like wait." And then the house at the end of the street becomes alive and gets really big and like grows like arms and stuff, and it just eats mom. Like, that's all of the dream that I remember. We're riding bikes, she gets too far away from me, this house becomes alive, and the door turns into, like, jagged teeth and, like, nasty, and it just takes a bite, and then mom is gone, and I just remember, like, that instantly after that, waking up and just, like, screaming again.
You didn't happen to recently watch the hit movie Monster House, had you?
I was
No,
thinking the
and I
same
was
thing.
thinking I have thought about that later. I don't remember because like I don't even remember when that movie came out, but that's essentially like a monster house that like eats mom. That's like super weird. But like because I've had so many nightmares, it's for me
Nice.
it's like I got to a point at some point like in my very early teens that if a nightmare felt like it was getting too severe, my brain would just be like, "Nope, we're waking up now."
Yeah.
And it would just like I would just wake up in the middle of like whatever was happening and I would still be having like a panic attack about it. But there was like a few recurring nightmares that I had like consistently from like 5 or so up and like, literally up until, like, mid-teens, like 16 or something like that. And as I got older and I got more, like, cognitive of, like, "Okay, this is definitely, like, a recurring nightmare," I would just get, like, frustrated because it was, like, they were always black and white, and, like, it would always, like, switch scenes, I guess, really fast. Because none of it was very, like, liminal spaces type of a feeling. And I was like first person, but in a way that I didn't have a body type of a thing. And it was
Mm.
always the exact
Just
same.
video game camera.
Yeah, like it was always the exact same thing, even like through all of those years. It was always the same, where I would be in like this completely white space, and then there would be staircases that would just kind of like weave up and down that didn't make any sense, that wouldn't lead anywhere, but they'd be far away. And then it was like almost like crowd like like stock music, like crowd noises was in the background, but like muffled, and it was weird. And I would be like the staircases would like move around, and then there'd be like a little dot of something. And I never, to this day, I can't describe what it was, but it was just like this mass of like moving stuff that was like super far away that would just be like gradually moving closer to my face, or like what apparently my face was in these dreams. And it would be like get closer to where I still can't really see what it is. And then in an instant, it would just be in my face for only like like a flash of a moment of just like weird squiggly things in my face, and then it was gone. And then it was like a black space, and there was a highway that showed up, and it was like just a forever highway, and it had like it was completely dark, and again everything is in black and white, and there's like lamp posts on either side that are like, and I'm like basically the car, and I'm going down this like highway, and the lampposts are going past me and everything, and then they start getting like gradually faster and faster and faster until it's like light speed, it feels like. And at some point I'll wake up during parts of this dream because it keeps like going in and out of all like both of those weird spaces. But when I would wake up from these dreams, no matter when it was in the timeline of me being super little to a teenager, when I would wake up, I would feel fast. Like when I would get out of bed, it felt like the world around me was super slow and I was moving super fast. And it would freak me out as a kid because I didn't understand why I felt like I was going fast. And then as I got older and I was like into my teens, I remember waking up and having that where I'm like, I moved my covers off and I felt like I was going fast, and I put my covers back over me and I was like trying to slow down because I was like, no, I'm not actually moving fast. There's no way I can actually be moving extra fast. And every time I would move my covers, I would still be moving fast. I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom and I literally turn the light on and I still am like processing everything as fast. And I remember like staring at myself in the mirror and moving my arms and my body around and literally like verbally saying, I'm not fast, I'm not moving fast, and I still like couldn't get myself under control. And because mom heard me, she was like, Megan, are you okay? And then she was able to kind of help me like calm down. So I don't know if it's always the anxiety and the way that it manifests after that specific dream, but it was always the same recurring dream, and that was always the way I woke up from it, was I was fast and the world was slow. And it was so creepy.
I remember having a similar feeling to that when I was a kid, when I would have panic attacks.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I still get the same thing, but it's a little bit different. But yeah, there would be the whole like everything feels like it's moving slow and I'm fast. There's like almost like a trail that you see when you move.
Yeah.
And then, but for me, it was on top of that. Everything looked like it was like double. Everything looked like it was in fishbowl. Basically, like everything was further away. And I learned it was basically just like it was the anxiety, it was the panic, just kind of manifesting in these kind of hallucinations almost. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always been super weird for me with like nightmares.
But yeah, it used to be bad when I was a kid.
Yeah, spooky. Spooky.
Yeah.
I used to have a huh.
No, go ahead, bro.
I used to have a.
We're both too polite.
So before I got my driver's license, I used to have really bad dreams. Some would repeat. Some would just be like different variants of each other. The one that would always repeat is we'd be driving a car down like a really unrealistically steep hill. And then we would get to the bottom of the hill and just crash.
Oh, God.
And it would always wake me up. and I still vividly remember what the dream looked like. And I was always in the perspective of being behind the wheel, but I wasn't the one driving. And then
dreams are always weird like that when you have like the dream in a different perspective than what
Yeah.
yours is.
yeah, like my dad was driving, but I was looking from where he would have been sitting, but I wasn't him.
Have
So
you
I'd
ever had a dream in third person?
Maybe.
Dreams in third person is just weird.
I don't know if I have.
Yeah, because like I haven't had very many, but I've had like a couple where it's like almost as if somebody else was filming and I was watching what happened, but as it's happening.
I've had one of those.
I've only ever seen myself in a mirror in dreams.
That's not good.
Yeah. Well, like you know, like the common tropes of like, oh, if you look at a clock, you won't be able to read it. If you look in the mirror, you're not going to see yourself. Like,
If you got a phone in your dream.
if you got a phone in your dream, you got to pee.
I've had a phone in my dream.
I've also had a phone in my dream.
A phone in my dream?
I think
What does that mean?
I don't remember, but it was like.
Wait, what does it mean if you see yourself in a mirror in your dream?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I've definitely seen that.
Let me look it up.
I feel like the you don't have a cell phone in your dream is such an old head thing to say. Like that's like people that didn't grow up with phones or weren't ever around phones as a kid or
Currently,
don't have one
like,
now.
In more recent years, not because it's not like scary, but I have a lot of dreams that feel like platform video games
Ooh.
or just like video games in general where it's like and they're always like apocalyptic where it's like, all right, I'm in this building and a bunch of us are stuck and there's a bad guy and we have to sneak or do and fight our way out of this building so that we can escape. And it always feels like very like video game trope of like a level specifically that are like is always super weird. Or in similar backroom-esque things, I take a turn in like some kind of coliseum or convention center, and then I'm immediately lost. I have a lot of dreams like that.
Some of the other driving dreams I've had are like different variants of I'm the one driving the car, but I can't drive it. Like I can't turn the wheel. Yeah, like we'll be approaching a bend and like I can't turn the wheel all the way and then we crash, or like my dad passes out at the wheel and I can't steer us away from the turn in time.
Oh, I remember my mom told me my aunt, her older sister, had a sleepwalking nightmare. 'Cause she used to sleepwalk a lot too. And what's crazy to me is when people sleepwalk kind of like like sleepwalking and going downstairs is the creepiest thing to me because it's like I don't understand how you can like I can understand getting to another part of your house if it's all in one level, but going sleepwalking down steps,
Yeah.
I don't know how people don't just like immediately fall and like break something.
I mean,
But
it is very dangerous.
yeah, like my
But it like comes down to muscle memory. That's the whole thing with like
Yeah.
sleepwalking.
Yeah.
Whenever when you're sleepwalking and walking around your house, it's just muscle memory.
What do you think
That's what I would do
about
when I was a kid. I
what
would
do you
just walk around the house?
what do you think about the shower thing that I said earlier?
Oh my god, that is like
What?
yeah, so Dane had slept walk, he woke up in the night and took a shower. Like half of a shower.
So
Like in my head when you started telling that, I'm like, dude could have drowned.
so
Like,
I
you could have
Slipped,
slipped,
yeah.
hit
Yeah.
your head, and then drowned in the tub.
No, it was very real, like that I could have slipped.
Because it was completely dark also.
Yeah,
Like
so
fake washing your hair too.
I do know that I like fake washed myself. That's all I really remember
was
from
asleep.
it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like no soap, nothing. Just like the motion of washing myself.
Raw water.
It
I
was
got a funny sleep story about my dad.
I haven't finished the one about my aunt yet.
Sorry.
So yeah,
Keep going.
their room was upstairs, and she slept walk downstairs and walked into their parents' room. was standing at the end of their bed while she was dreaming. She
Oh.
was dreaming that she was a dot. Like, imagine Word document, but just like all you see is white and then just a black dot. That's who she was. She was just a dot in nothingness. And then she exploded. She just popped. And when she popped, she just started screaming. Like, I think mom said she was screaming as if someone was trying to peel her. So, like, bloody murder. And
Peel?
obviously, yeah, that's like how the scream, like, just guttural screaming at the end of their parents' bed. So imagine sleeping as a parent and then waking up to your oldest child just screaming bloody murder at the end of your bed.
Like someone was gonna peel her.
Like, just
I
the
wanna be
most
a dot.
bloody murder scream. I'm just like she just wouldn't stop for a second. I think mom said that she also had a dream she was a bale of hay,
Girl.
Bale of hay.
but I don't remember what else happened.
What does it mean when
Did
you
she ever get
dream that you're an
therapy?
inanimate object?
I don't think so. Dad dreamed that he was a boomerang. Did I tell you about that? He dreamed that he was a boomerang, not like he was an inanimate object, but he flew like a boomerang, but he only flew like 5 feet off the ground.
That's awesome. A story about my dad from when he was a youngin. This was like when him and my mom were first married, and my dad was in the Marines at the time, and he used to build bombs for
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, this
the Marine
story
Corps.
is hilarious.
That's what he did. He built explosives for the Marines. And he one night, my mom wakes up and she sees just this lump at the foot of the bed under the blankets. And it's my dad sitting up under the blankets at the foot of the bed, and he's just like moving around. He's like sitting cross-legged, and he's like just moving around, miming like he's grabbing things and twisting things. And she's like, "Mark, what are you doing?" And like, and he doesn't respond to her at first, and he's just like shuffling around, and he like looks at her, and he's like, or doesn't look at her. His eyes are closed, and he's like, "Hand me this tool or whatever." He like tells her to hand him a tool, and she's like, "Mark, what are you doing?" And he's like, "What does it look like I'm doing? Hand me this tool. Hand me the tool." Mark. She like at this point starts like she like kind of yells at him like, "Mark, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm building a bomb."
With no context, that would be like even funnier. Like,
And then, like he yells, and then it goes quiet, and then he just kind of sits there and he relaxes because he woke up, and he's like, "Sorry, honey, I was just dreaming."
oh, damn.
He's dreaming about work.
Oh my god.
Me.
This poor
Like, I've
dude.
had work dreams before, but I can't imagine having like work dreams like that.
I'm building a bomb.
The most I ever got out of a work dream was just hearing the beeping from a forklift. Like that's the most I've
Oh
ever.
god.
I knew
The
about
one that
Get
I
it
hate the
again.
most was like the beeping of the fryers from McDonald's.
Oh
The
man.
to-go the chime, the new order chime from Domino's. I hate Domino's with a burning passion.
But he loves pizza.
I love pizza. I cut my teeth at Domino's. This has been an unendorsement.
Scathing review of Domino's Pizza. Man,
Negative Yelp review.
It was only good when I made it.
exactly.
Do you guys want to hear about the first reoccurring nightmare I ever had?
Yes.
Okay, so This was when I was like a babby. It's
A
the
babby,
first
yes.
nightmare that I can remember, but it was a reoccurring one. So I was a small child, and I was walking down the street in front of my childhood house in Yuma, Arizona. So picture a small desert town in the middle of nowhere. And I'm just walking down this street in the very middle of the road, very small child. And then there's like a street lamp at the corner where my house was. And I'm looking up at this street lamp. It's dark out. And then suddenly, this street lamp grows long pink hair.
Interesting.
And then 2 arms sprout out of it, like twig arms, like it's like basically like a metal stick bug. 2 arms sprout out of it, 2 legs sprout out of it, and then it starts chasing me down the street. A street lamp with pink hair chasing me down the street.
Now,
First nightmare.
what
I ever
did this spawn from? Like, did you know someone with pink hair?
I don't know. When I tell you this was the first nightmare I ever had, I was literally like, this is the first memory of a dream I have. Like, I was a small child.
That is such a strange.
Like, toddler age. I remember it to this day.
Like, it's so weirdly specific with the pink hair part.
Yeah.
Like, I could
Pink hair.
understand it becoming alive, I guess, but the pink hair specific.
Mhm.
It's so weird when, like, as little kids, like, when you have nightmares, it's like, what did I see that made this happen?
I mean, like, I would play out on the street at night all the time. Like, it was a pretty safe neighborhood, so, like, and I mean, it was the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the late 90s. No one really gave a shit. So, like, yeah, I would just walk around, like, the street in the neighborhood. Like, it wasn't really that big of a neighborhood. So, like, I just would walk around. And then, like, before the street, or before the sun went down, like, I would have to be home. So I would go home and, like, I don't know, like, maybe it was just something scared me one night. I don't know. But, like,
That is such an
that
interesting.
just spawned in
That-
my sleep demons.
I looked it up because I was like, maybe it's like from Lazy Town. Lazy Town would not air until 2004.
Yeah, no, I am no older than you, sir.
Man, I can't
Like
even.
the older brother you don't have.
I can't even imagine where that would have come from. Pink hair,
idea.
street lamp with legs and arms.
Yeah. I mean, Bug's Life came out.
What's in Bug's
it?
Life, though?
I don't know, stick bugs.
I guess that's where it could have come from. That
Hold on,
movie,
when did Bug's Life come out?
1998.
Okay, so yeah, it could have been
Yeah,
around then. Yeah.
Bug's Life consumed my life for a while as a kid. That was like my whole shit when I was like 4.
Speaking of Bug's Life, I got grounded one time because when I got grounded, it was basically like Butters on South Park getting grounded. It was for no reason. So when I got grounded because I got hyperfixated on a line from Bug's Life when like that old bug is like screaming that the rain is gonna rip the bird to shreds, like that their paper mache bird. Their fictitious bird that they made at the end of the movie, that the rain was gonna rip it to shreds, and I just kept yelling, "Rip to shreds." That
Tism
phrase.
who?
What?
Tism who?
Yeah.
Getting
Literally.
fixated on a line and then
I
not
got
stop
fixated
saying
on
it.
just this line in a movie, and I said it over and over and over again for like a week.
I'd
and I got
probably
reprimanded for it.
I'd probably be concerned too if my child kept yelling "rip to shreds."
Oh, dude, my teachers were so concerned about me. They made it obvious to my parents, and my parents did not. They took offense.
Oh man.
Oh man, I shouldn't be going on that rant. This is a spooky hour.
That is so
Okay.
funny. You know,
What
I
other spooky stories do I have?
I don't really have anything else.
I don't know.
do we have anything else? I
Been through a lot of trauma.
That can be scary.
Yeah.
It's like, how depressing do we want?
Should I end it on the story about my dad?
I think so.
Okay, you've been wanting me to tell this story the whole time.
I think it's insane.
I was originally going to have him come on here and tell it, but I don't want to put him on camera like that because he's never really been on camera before.
Fair.
But he, so he told me the story a few years ago. We were talking about the house I grew up in because he obviously shares all those stories with us. And he told me a story that happened to him when he was a kid that he thought he had told me before and had never said anything about up until that point. When my dad was very, very young, his mother passed away. And he would have been around 5 years old. And so around the age of 9, when he was around 5 years old, he didn't understand the concept of losing someone. So he thought that she simply went off somewhere and she was going to come back.
Oh,
And when he was around 9 years old, he woke up in the middle of the night and sitting in a chair across the room from him was who he believed to be his mother. And he describes it as not scary. To him, he describes it as being very calming and kind of like reassuring. And if I'm getting the details of the story right, he gets up and like goes to give her a hug and she just disappears. And yeah, that was the story he told me that happened to him when he was
Damn.
9. So that was a story that I hadn't heard until like maybe 2 years ago.
damn.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being like a little kid and then going for a hug for the mom that you have been missing and not knowing where, and then just going away.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
That's insane.
So that's definitely one of the crazier stories I've
Yeah.
learned from him. Especially because he didn't tell it for so long. I don't think he knew that he hadn't told it.
That reminds me of a story that my mom told me from when she was pregnant with me. One day, like she was probably like it was pretty late in her pregnancy. Like she was ready to pop. I was almost here. And she was in her room trying her best to tie her shoes. And she's sitting there kind of working on it. And suddenly she just kind of like she thought that my dad walked into like the threshold of the door because she felt like this person come up. She saw the shadow about my dad's height, my dad's build. She just feels this person walk up and she just goes, "Oh, honey, can you grab it?" And she looks up and she sees this person standing there, this man standing there.
Oh.
And she doesn't feel scared. She almost felt familiar. She looked up and she it was weird because she said she first thought it was her dad, which obviously it wasn't because this man is much younger.
Yeah.
but kind of looks like her dad. Kind of looks like her husband. Not either one, but he's standing there and smiling at her. And she kind of, and then like she like this is like a split second. She kind of then freaks out, and he's gone.
Yeah.
But the older I got, the more I looked like that man.
Whoa.
I now am the person she saw standing there.
Slay.
She knew what I was going to look like before.
Or, Wesley, my thought was it was who was supposed to be your twin.
Oh.
Whoa.
How did you not think of that? You were supposed to be a twin, and Wesley, he didn't, and it's not even like one of those
that's
things where
probably
Wesley
that.
absorbed the twin. Like,
Yeah, my
Wesley,
twin was miscarried.
yeah,
Oh.
and somehow he survived. So that's where my head went, was that the figure
It was, oh shit.
was your twin.
That would definitely be my lead theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it heavier because you would have at least looked similar.
Yeah. Wow.
My
Oh,
cousin
shit.
was supposed to be a twin too, and she absorbed her sister.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
See, but yeah, that was that's not a thing where like I absorbed my twin. My twin just straight up died.
yeah.
And sometimes I like it's something that like I've never really thought about.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, like I have a sister, my sister Emily, like,
Damn, there
but
could
I
be
never
two of
really
you.
think about the fact that I have another sibling technically.
Because your mom's had other miscarriages.
But yeah, she has had other
that one
miscarriages.
specifically.
That one was specifically tied to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the theory I would subscribe to, is what Megan said. Yeah. That one makes more sense.
I actually never thought of that in my 30 years. I never thought of that.
I like the one. Oh, this was kind of crazy, and then I just like
honestly,
dropped
he's-
a bombshell.
If he is watching down on me, he's probably like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He stole my look.
Piece of shit.
If he's been watching you and your parents, he's probably like, you know what? Good for you, dude.
I
Wow.
hope so. Yeah, that's a whole other story. I won't get into that.
That's for Trauma Dump podcast night.
Yeah, that'll be therapy night.
Damn, now that one I feel like was
If you want to hear,
Wesley.
if you want to hear about my my family trauma, listen to my new EP coming out soon.
Literally.
I'm dead fucking serious. I have a new song on
Wesley's
this new EP that is like, oh, did I show you guys this song yet?
Okay, well, let's not get too far into Wesley hour.
Sorry, I've been drinking.
we have a group chat with them, Wesley. This is Dane's podcast.
Hey, shameless self-promotion.
I'll allow
I'm a
it.
musician. It's what I do. I have an EP coming out. People, listen to me, please.
It's like at the end of like
For the love of God, listen to me.
It's like the end of Hot Ones where
God, yeah.
they're like, oh, do you have anything to plug? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm in this movie. I'm gonna have this coming out.
Yeah.
Wesley's just like, hey, by the way.
Hey, the reason my biggest failure in my music career is not promoting myself enough.
This is true. It's just funny.
Well, I would say we had a pretty good episode. We went for over 2 hours.
Nice.
So I would say we did pretty good. We had some good stories. That was a really good one to end on.
That's what I was thinking.
That one's insane.
Oh man, that one blew
Wow.
my mind though. Like I learned something about myself today.
You're welcome, man.
I learned something about my twin. I wonder what his name is.
Who knows?
What did he name himself? I should.
He's listening to this
do some
moment like that,
spiritual work here.
He's listening to this moment like that fucking narcissist. He didn't even think.
Sorry, bro. Man.
Well, I would say that's a good
Do
note
some spiritual
to.
work, get in touch with my dead twin brother.
I would say that's a good note to end on. You know,
No,
That was-
pull up
Yeah.
that Ouija board.
it's sitting right in front of me.
We
Oh,
got a
Quidja.
sibling to contact.
The Quidja.
Can you burn a Luigi board?
What happens if you burn a Luigi board?
My friends used a Luigi board and it mentioned me. My favorite one is just the help Quidja!
Wait, have you guys ever? Like, have you guys ever done Ouija boards?
No.
No.
I've messed around with this one a little bit. Yeah.
I did one once. Do you want me to tell that story real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can. I'm
Okay,
good.
I'll make this quick. So, yeah, this my old group of friends from back in Sacramento. We were doing a Ouija board, and like I was like maybe like 20, 21 at the time, and extremely skeptical, newly atheist. And I was sitting there just kind of poo-pooing it the whole time, and I decide as we're sitting there, our hands are on it, the lights are low, there's candles lit. I'm just gonna start subtly moving it myself and trying to spell things. And I decided to at one point other people in the group like were fully just they were fully convinced that they were talking to someone dead, and I just started moving and started spelling the name of my high school bully, Sam Plecker.
Oh.
I like how
The
you're like,
full name drop.
I was like, I'm not gonna name these.
Oh no, fuck this guy.
I mean, actually, yeah.
No, he actually has a music career,
And he's an asshole.
and he's an asshole. Vista kicks. Fuck this guy. He played guitars for Bad Sons for a little while.
Shit.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh, this guy.
Oh, this is awesome.
Specifically, he bullied the shit out of me and my best friend all throughout high school. Spread rumors about us.
This is what Forbidden FM's for, baby. Let's go.
Fuck this person. Actually, I haven't spoke to him in like 15 years, so whatever. Maybe I should get over it. I started doing that. I started spelling his name.
That's so
And
funny.
the funniest part about it is that like I got halfway through the name. I got Sam. And I got like 2 letters into his last name. And then my old bass player from my old band was sitting next to me. And he just starts side-eyeing me. Because I think he figured out like, oh, you motherfucker, are you doing this? Are you seriously?
That's awesome.
Oh. Fun Quidja story.
Quidja.
There we go.
Luigi board? We had a friend do something like somewhat similar to us. We were using the board in my dining room, and like our friend started moving the piece, and like a quarter of the way in, I was like, okay, dude, like I know someone at this table's moving it, but I didn't say anything. And they started like spelling out some like Civil War era thing.
Stop.
And everyone was getting kind of freaked out. And then he started spelling the name of the person, and the first name was Abraham, and that's where he started losing everybody at the table. When everybody was like, "What are you gonna say, Lincoln?" Like that's when they stopped taking it seriously.
For some
love
reason
that.
that makes me think of like the John Mulaney bit about like talking about ghosts with his mom. She's like, I used to see a little girl in a Victorian dress at the end of the hallway, and then she would evaporate. Don't get me,
Was
Wesley.
I the Victorian little girl?
Yeah.
Was there ever a ghost mother?
I was the
Was
dead
the
Victorian girl you
girl
saw, just
me
me all along.
God, I want to watch some John Mulaney now.
Yeah, so this Ouija board is the same one that I mentioned in the story. I've never gotten this board to work. Like, I don't...
Rory.
It's kind of lame.
Is it made by Hasbro?
Yes. That's
You can
my
make
That's a
your own.
problem.
that's my theory, is that's why, because it's made by a toy company and not an actual board.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah,
just
that's
made
why.
one.
That's why the
Ooh,
one that I used didn't work. It
dude.
was made by Hasbro.
That,
It took me fucking with people.
no. That antique store that the four of us went to,
Oh
that
my God, Dan! I
we
think you
felt
had the same one that I
that
had.
one, because like the whole place was creepy, but then there was that one room
Yeah.
where we were just like, mm-mm.
Oh,
Like the second we walked in there, because
Yeah,
there was
the war stuff.
yeah, at the end there was like all of that really old war stuff, and like the second I
True.
walked into that one specific room, like me and Ro talked about it later, there's like the physical air felt instantly heavier, where it was like hard to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Yeah, I kind of
I'm
felt
pretty
that
sure
too.
they had a Ouija board there somewhere.
Well,
I-
it was all. I'm pretty sure it was all those World War II and World War One memorabilia.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
further back
They
into
had
that
their
room,
medals,
closer to that
too.
stuff.
There was a lot of old World War stuff, and they did have some old Civil War bullets
Oh, yeah.
in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, their medals and
Like,
stuff were in there.
yeah.
Hats.
They also had stuff that they had, like, clearly pillaged from Europe, like, and other
Yeah.
parts of the world. So that also could have contributed to it.
Yeah, because it was like the whole place had like a weird vibe, but that
It also-
specific room was just nasty.
Yeah.
It also reeked of black mold.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, mold spore.
Love is in the air. Wrong. Mold spore.
I love the smell
Isn't
of
that the
mold.
plot of Last of Us?
Mold
Love is
spores?
in the air.
Love's
Wrong.
in the air. No, mold spore.
Virus bomb.
Why are you gorilla? I just keep seeing the gorilla emoji on your little screen.
Well, this has been the Forbidden FM podcast, the spooky hour.
That
Thank you for
kind of
joining us in these last 2 hours.
That kind of turned into not spooky.
Turning on a radio voice.
I would say it stayed pretty spooky throughout. We got some good stories going. That room in particular is a good one to talk about just because of the air in there.
Yeah, it was nasty.
The vibes are off.
Because like
Mold
the
spore.
second that you walk back, it was like fine. Like out of that room, it was like fine.
Yeah.
Still bad, but it's better.
Well, if y'all want to help me sign off the episode, thanks for watching, everyone. You can find this podcast on streaming services. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod, where you can get bonus content. Anybody want to plug anything?
Walk.
Plug walk. Anybody want to
I'm gonna
plug?
Plug in my phone. No. I don't do anything.
Same.
Well, I like I said
Wesley?
earlier, I make music.
Take it away, Wesley.
Well, you can find me on Spotify. You can find me on YouTube Music and Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music.
Like you broke right there.
You can catch me wherever you stream your music. Just find me. My name is Wesley Rose. I have a new EP coming out. It's called How to Build a Guillotine. You can find the first single out now called How to Build a Guillotine. I also have put out some covers recently. One called Little War by Que Sera. That one's a great one. Go listen to it, please.
All right.
He begs you.
Begs and desperate artist.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Oh.